ESPN Rivalry Week presented by
And welcome here to the Palestra in Philadelphia. We go from a team that was ranked number 3 in the preseason, Michigan State, to a team that has earned it, the St. Joseph's Hawks. They are 19-0 on the season. They take on the Explorers of LaSalle. This is an Atlantic 10 Conference and Big 5 rivalry game. Dave Trader along with Bob Wenzel. And Bob, Jameer Nelson's club, obviously the big favorite. You coach these rivalry games. They can be dangerous for the favorite team.
Absolutely. Phil Martelli is telling his Hawks, don't undersell them, don't undersell them. Billy Hahn is saying, dream the big dream, go get it.
Great atmosphere in the Palestra as always. This is the venue that hosted the first ever NCAA championship game back in 1939.
Keep your eye on number 14, Gary Neal. He is their best scorer, capable of getting 30.
And the other guy to keep your eye on is the guy that the ball just went inside to, Stephen Smith, and he is fouled on the play. And the foul goes against Pat Carroll, his first.
St. Joseph's not only has earned their reputation as a great shooting team, they are also a fabulous defensive team.
Here is Neal. He got Delonte West into the air with a ball fake and an offensive rebound by Jermaine Thomas, the point guard for the Explorers.
Great start for LaSalle. Got it inside. Got an offensive rebound. Things going their way so far early.
Here is Thomas. Hasn't lived up to his expectations, and he'll be tested against Nelson. And a little bit of frustration with the foul against Thomas. Take a look at our star watch, and is there a better backcourt than Jameer Nelson and Delonte West anywhere in the nation?
Not in my estimation. Not only are they so great because they score, they also have a great sense of where one another are on the floor at all times. Big numbers scoring, great on defense, great unselfishness. Terrific guys to watch, and when you watch them up close, you can see how great they are.
Here is Nelson. He is being watched by Neal. Bell up against Pat Carroll. This is such a great perimeter shooting team, and it's not just West and Nelson that you have to worry about. Bryant now looking on the inside. Hands it off for Carroll into the lane. Back out to West, 5 on the shot clock. No problem, said Delonte West.
Delonte West, he of the 33 points and no misses against Xavier earlier this year. 12 baskets in a row, then 7 in his next game. 19 straight field goals.
5 seconds would be late in the shot clock for most offenses, Bob, but I think that the Hawks have that kind of patience and confidence. Inside to Smith. Off the glass block, that's going to be a goaltend. Did you mention Delonte West and what he did in conference on the road at Xavier?
He was spectacular. All kinds of shots. Off-balance shots. Notice how he keeps his body square to the basket, at least the upper part. And his Julius Erving imitation. Little hesitation on the baseline. This guy's got every move in existence. He can really score. We didn't even show you any of his threes there.
The folks at Cintas Center were used to another West, David West, being a hero. Delonte went in there and just put on a show. Right here, the Explorers trying to do something they did a couple of years ago when they were an underdog and beat a ranked and heavily favored St. Joe's club. Here is Smith. He can knock that down, and he is knocked down. A chance for a 4-point play.
Dwayne Jones not used to guarding a man away from the basket. Smith shoots 33% from three-point range, and on the trailer here, he is challenged late. Right here, Bryant comes into the picture late, nicks him on the arm. Great start for LaSalle. They lost their last game against Rhode Island by 4, and they were anemic from the field, shooting in the 20s. Tonight, getting off to a great start. I think the adrenaline is there.
Yeah, they opened up the second half of that game against Rhode Island at home, shooting 1 for 17 from the floor, Bob. But they have shaken off that slump and started quickly here. Nelson pulls up, and that is a long 2. Grant Conley, Eugene Crawford, and DJ Cartenson, officiating crew. Here's a steal off the pressure. Nelson into the lane.
Good judgment.
West the crossover, deep 3 by Nelson. He knocks it down.
That is magic, Dave. They have an uncanny ability to know every second where the other person is.
Smith got a break as he threw it away, but it was off the leg of a St. Joe's player.
You like this backcourt? Look at his front change. How do you guard that? You try to help? No way you can help off Nelson. It is bottom.
You talked about that this morning when we got together, Bob, about one player with the ball penetrating and then the wing player cutting right in behind the guy with the ball. Great example of it there. Carroll knocks it out of bounds.
You talk about their great offense, but Phil Martelli's team holding people to under 20. They're 28% from three-point range, so they guarded out there.
Neal, his toes were on the line, but it doesn't matter. He missed it. Bryant with the rebound. Nelson now to West. Just a great atmosphere here at the Palestra as this shot is short off the front iron by Jameer Nelson. Now Thomas, he pulls up for the three. No good. Back the other way. The handoff to West. Straight away to Carroll. Puts it on the floor. Back to Delonte West. Blocked by Thomas. And a foul against LaSalle away from the ball. It's going to go against Mike St. John. Used his knee. Picks up his first. Second team foul against the Explorers. Neal right up in the face of Jameer Nelson. Carroll also a long ball threat. Here's Delonte West. And it's stripped away by Thomas. Lead pass down for Smith. Strong to the basket. We're tied at 8.
Explorers, when you are the team that's coming and wants to get the upset, the underdog, you need to have great starts to improve your confidence. LaSalle has done that.
Steve Smith has all 8 points, and he's on the floor at the defensive end. Here's Neal with a ball fake. He's open. He hits it.
Can't get any better for the Explorers in the early going.
Billy Hahn, the third-year coach, has already done a game's worth of work over there on the sidelines.
From the Gary Williams school of effervescence on the sideline. The former Maryland aide.
Now inside, it comes back out to Bryant. Kicks it on the wing. West is open. Rattles in and out. Smith with a rebound. Smith hands it off to Bell now as the Explorers slow it down. LaSalle with a 2-point lead, and Billy Hahn has 3 of his substitutes ready to come in. A steal by Nelson all the way with the reverse. And a foul against Neal, and Nelson will go to the free throw line.
When you are dribbling the basketball against St. Joseph, you have to be extremely careful because people snipe at you from every direction, and Jameer Nelson made a great steal on that play. They have no idea he is coming. David Bell dribbling, not aware of anything, and an easy play for Jameer.
And right now, Quadri, Deepening, and Cleves all coming in for Billy Hahn as Thomas, St. John, and Bell all will sit down.
You know, thoughts about playing St. Joseph, when you think about what sort of tactical moves you can make, it's almost impossible to play them zone because they shoot so well from three-point range. And it's difficult to guard these little guys man-to-man. They spread the floor on you.
Nelson hit 1 of the 2 free throws. And there's the classic offense of St. Joe's with West beating Nelson. But then Stephen Smith, the sensational sophomore, leading the way for LaSalle.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of Rivalry Week is presented by Cisco Systems. This is the power of the network. Now.
Back at the historic Palestra, you can see some of the windows up top here. You have daylight coming in. It is a different atmosphere to play in. One of the most historic as we continue Rivalry Week here on ESPN. LaSalle with a 1-point lead over St. Joe's. Dave Sprader back along with Bob Wentz. In the last 4 games, St. Joe's has outscored the opposition by nearly 100 points in the first half. LaSalle has come out strong here.
Oh, they really have, and I'll tell you, that's what you want to do when you're the underdog on this kind of a court. I think the reason for it is that the LaSalle coaches are wearing basketball shoes in this game. Something different.
Baseline jumper by Smith, no good. It is chased down by Cleves. Did he save it? No, he went out of bounds. Yes, you mentioned the basketball shoes. This is all part of a cancer awareness promotion that the Philadelphia area coaches are being involved in, and the sneakers that are being worn by the coaches here on game day will be auctioned off later to raise money to help battle cancer. Of course, Coaches versus Cancer, a very big part of our ESPN family.
And a good luck charm for the Explorers today.
Out top now, Delonte West into the lane against Cleves. Difficult pass, but got it to Carroll. 9-12 on the shot clock.
Salle really playing solid defense, energized by this good start.
Here is West off the glass and in. Boy, he creates so well. And the Hawks back up by 1. Remember, St. Joe's one of only 2 undefeated teams left in the nation. Stanford is playing later on ABC, a game that will be seen by some of you. Stanford taking on Arizona. That was an ill-advised lob pass, and I think Cleves, yes, is going to be called for the foul.
Delonte West is such a good one-on-one player. When he sees any seam, look at this, 4 LaSalle guys around him. Still, the educated play off the glass. His left hand is so smooth.
4th team foul against the Explorers.
You mentioned Arizona and Stanford. Stanford's Justin Davis, one of their power players, has been out. So an opportunity for Arizona, who has had some success at Maples Pavilion in Palo Alto.
Dekaitis, an outstanding three-point shooter. Seems to say that about everybody on this St. Joe's team, but he's in the ball game for Martelli. Passes it up there, goes to Barley, who was checked in. Tyrone Barley, no good. Big offensive rebound. And a backcourt violation. Jameer Nelson thought that ball had been tipped.
Big-time energy from LaSalle today, Dave. I am impressed with the preparation that they have had. Billy Hahn has his team to go against Phil Martelli and his group. Very aggressive. Their defense has been spectacular. They're guarding people. They're hedging out on screens, trying to use their quickness. Whether they can remain this way the rest of the game, we're going to see.
Second collegiate head coaching stop for Billy Hahn, who coached back in the 80s at Ohio University with our own Frank Priscilla on that staff as well. Neal able to recover the ball. Dekaitis right out on him. Neal's pass deflected by West out of bounds. And we're down to 12 on the shot clock.
St. Joe's, despite their lack of size, they don't rebound great, but they really do a terrific job of preventing passers from seeing their guys inside.
Here is Cleves. Nice look inside. Bell with the easy dunk. And we go back and forth here at the Palestra. The #3 team in the country, St. Joe's, down by 1.
Well, you talk about rivalries and how inner-city rivalries between schools in close proximity. Guys know each other. They play against each other a great deal in the summertime. As a result, there's no intimidation factor with a #3 ranked team playing someone lower than them.
Dekaitis, a ball fake. West steps out. That is a long 2, but the shot was too long. And Bell with a rebound. Here comes Cleves into the lane. Smith backs it up. Explorers in a bit of trouble. Here's Padre with a fadeaway. And he got the roll.
Is this the same team that couldn't make a shot against Rhode Island? Wow.
This is a predominantly St. Joe's crowd in red, but in the basket, under the basket to the right, you'll see a lot of the yellow and blue of this LaSalle team, and a big hug for the coach, Billy Hahn. You don't usually see that from a player and coach when the player's still in the game.
I'll tell you, my players would never hug me, I'll tell you that. Usually you save that for later, huh?
Here is Bell. He's going to force the issue and forced it too much. And a foul here. And it's going to go against the Explorers. Well, if you think LaSalle can't knock off a strong St. Joe's team, think again. We'll flash back to 2001 when Jameer Nelson was a freshman and the Explorers pulled a shocker. I'll show you that in a moment.
What a finish in Ann Arbor. Purdue and Michigan, Wolverines up by 1. Brandon McKnight in the closing seconds. The tough runner, Boilers on top by a single. But nobody stops ball. Nobody makes Daniel Horton even turn. And that leaves Courtney Sims there to put it back once, twice, and the Wolverines win it by 1.
Wolf, I don't know if we can have that kind of an exciting finish, but we didn't expect this much of an exciting start. The Explorers of LaSalle, a huge underdog against unbeaten and third-ranked St. Joe's. LaSalle leading by 3 here with the Palestrin.
West and Nelson have all of the points for St. Joe's so far. The two super sophs, Smith and Neal, have 11 of the 14 for the Explorers.
Farley, Delonte West under 10 on the shot clock. It goes now to Nelson on the wing. Pulls back. That is a contested 3 that is no good. And this LaSalle team has brought quite an intensity at the defensive end, but Delonte West finds a way to get the rebound.
How does a 6'4" guy go among the trees and do that? He averages almost 6 rebounds a game at his diminutive size. So far, fairly even.
Both teams shooting well. There's a good help defense by Stakaitis. This is Farley now. It goes into the low post. Jones, and he lost the ball on the way up. He was fouled.
Many people point to Dwayne Jones as the inside game of St. Joseph's and say he is one of the reasons that they're not as strong as some of the other power teams in the United States. But his numbers are very impressive. 7 points a game, nearly 8 rebounds a game. They don't go to him. He's there. He catches the ball on dishes. He's got 41 blocks, 57 offensive rebounds. He's a weak free throw shooter, but only 50%.
Yes.
But I think he's taken some bad raps. This kid can play, and he's a very, very important part of this team.
Talking to Mark Bass, the former St. John's star point guard, who's now an assistant coach with St. Joe, says that they really have challenged their front court in practice, Bob, because he said they're going to have to come up at tournament time, and they're going to have to make free throws.
No doubt about it.
Padre strong to the basket, rolls in and out.
There's West again, getting another impossible rebound.
Oh, great crossover, dribble to the rim.
You gotta be kidding me.
Wow. 6 lead changes so far. Delonte West now with 9 points.
Oh, man. This guy has a sense of how to get through traffic. Look at this. Around one guy, in between 2 other guys. He is shifty.
We should point out that Jameer Nelson and Romain Sato of the Atlantic 10 have made the midseason cut for the John Wooden Award, but Phil Martelli asked an interesting question. Are there 30 players in the country better than Delonte West? I don't think so.
He was a victim of not being on the list early, I think.
That's right.
Phil has a good point. LaSalle's controlling tempo very well.
Long pass to Salle. Smith with a dunk. And he's fouled.
This is an extremely long lob pass. This ball was in the air from a long, long time. And of course, Smith showing his ability.
Stephen Smith was not a heavily recruited kid out of Northeast High School here in Philadelphia. He was kind of under the radar. Had it in his mind he was going to be an EMT. He didn't figure he had to have great grades. He said, I'll make a good living. I'll be an EMT. But guess what? His grades started to improve as he was a senior. And he said, I want to go to college. I want to play college basketball. And here he is now with the LaSalle Explorers. And you know what? If he had got hurt last year, Bob, he may have been the 8-10 freshman of the year. Not his teammate Gary Neal is. Delonte West gets to the rim again.
And you're right, Smith missed the last 10 games of the year, which put a damper on the Explorers season.
Here tied at 17. Smith, fade away. No good. Had Carroll the rebound.
Smith feeling it. He's getting dunks. He's getting good position inside. He's hit a 3.
Nelson, strong to the basket. That is blocked by Smith. Well, that was a pretty smart play by Gary Neal. He didn't want to call the timeout, and he forced the contact there.
Well, he did. A little bit of the rivalry showing its face right here. Love the aggression. Steven Smith has hit threes. He's done it at the offensive end, and here he's doing it at the defensive end. Notice how when he blocked that ball, he kept the ball in bounds. A nice ensuing trap by St. Joseph's. LaSalle will keep it.
A guy by the name of Bill Russell perfected that, didn't he? Blocking shot, keeping it in play. Used to trigger that Celtics fast break a lot of times with a block shot. And they're just making the announcement here with that last basket by Delonte West. He has 11, which gives him an even 1,000 for his career. So congratulations to the outstanding junior. Here is Quadric, kicks it off on the wing. Cleaves, difficult shot. Oh, I don't think he called back, but he got it. Those are the kinds of things that happen. You'll look back at a game and say, were there some signs that this was going to be a strange day?
We've seen a lot of signs. Explorers extremely impressive.
Quadric getting right in the face of West. West carrying the offense for the number 3 ranked Hawks. Here is Nelson. Oh, great give and go underneath. Such great chemistry between those two.
That's some magic there. But I'll tell you what, you talk about the anatomy of an upset, and LaSalle is doing everything they need to do. Number one, they came in emotionally ready and physically after it. Their best players have scored big points early. They're showing no fear, and their confidence is increasing as the game progresses.
Bell and Smith. Here is Smith again with a ball fake. Puts it up short. Another opportunity. He gets it again. A ball fake. Forces it up off the side of the backboard. And Dave Mallon, number 40, who's been in the ballgame for a few minutes, picks up the rebound. Barley kicks it on the wing. Carroll open for the 3, knocks it down. They just have so many weapons.
Classic. Carroll is a great three-point shooter. Brother Matt was also a great three-point shooter, graduated from Notre Dame, one of their key players over the last 4 seasons.
Barley went for the steal. Now Thomas felt the pressure and draws the foul.
LaSalle has handled that pressure extremely well, Dave.
St. Joseph's fouls number 12, Michael Barley. His first personal foul, team 5th.
Now, we have been telling you all week that this is rivalry week, and these two schools have been going at it since the early 1900s. Nobody expected this, but expect the unexpected during rivalry week.
Is back with you. Quite a battle in Rupp Arena this afternoon. A couple of teams in the top 25. South Carolina, Kentucky. Josh Garner going strong. The junior college transfer, and the Gamecocks and the Wildcats tied inside 9 minutes to go.
All right, Reese and right here, LaSalle hanging in, trailing by 3 against the number 3 team in the country, undefeated St. Joe's. And we got more basketball coming your way, following us right here on ESPN. Number 18, Texas Tech takes on number 17, Kansas. A couple of stars to watch there, Andre Emmett for Texas Tech, Keith Langford, of course, for Kansas. And then later on at 7 Eastern, it'll be Pittsburgh taking on Notre Dame.
Great game there. Pittsburgh, 21 wins. Inspired play by Billy Hahn's team in this game. They have come in here well prepared, inspired emotionally, and it is lending itself to great defense, and on offense, no fear.
Dekaitis picked up his first. Both teams now, Bob, with 6 team fouls, so they'll both be going to the line as a turnover here by the Explorers. Nelson kicks it off to West. Carroll, Dekaitis, Nelson, great ball movement. Nelson into the lane, and there is the foul that will go against Gary Neal.
They had 4 players on the perimeter who could make a three-point shot. Therefore, they have to be guarded closely. Therefore, the ability to drive the ball is there. The opportunity is there for Phil Martelli's group.
We've seen a little bit of the blueprint of what a team tries to do at the offensive end against St. Joe's, because LaSalle's been pounding it inside to Steve Smith, trying to get him touches. But at the defensive end, with all of these great three-point shooters, Bob, how do you defend them?
You have to guard your man and not help. And that is something that guys are not really taught in their careers. You're always trying to help when someone penetrates. You're better off guarding them, not helping, and having them take flying layups into the basket than open threes.
Number 21, Dwayne Jones back in the Hawks lineup.
St. Joe's has responded to LaSalle by getting more aggressive defensively. They're trapping the ball a great deal. They're picking up full court, trying to keep LaSalle out of getting that ball into Smith, as you described.
7-0 run here by the Hawks, and they lead by 5, their biggest lead of the ball game. Here is Smith. Inside, nice look to St. John, lays it off the glass and in. The freshman out of Northborough, Massachusetts, Mike St. John.
Dwayne Jones fell asleep on Smith's penetration, lost sight of his man.
Now Nelson against Thomas. Nelson will force the defender toward the basket very often, just step back and get that separation. Dekitis for the 2, knocks it down. Well, they did call it a 3.
A multitude, yeah, a multitude of weapons out here.
And a jump ball, and the possession arrow favoring St. Joe's.
It's amazing to me when you watch St. Joe's play, and we're talking about how great LaSalle is doing in this game and how they're doing it at both ends. They are down 6 points with 5 minutes and 44 seconds to go in the first half. And that's a tribute to the versatility of Phil Martelli's group. The Hawks do it at both ends.
With St. Joe's 4 of 8 from behind the line. This is a team that will just kill you from 3-point territory. Nelson being watched by Neal. Here's Barley. He has worked on his offensive game. Carroll, long 3. That rattles in and out. Oh, there's an emphatic offensive rebound and a putback by Dwayne Jones. That's what Phil Martelli wants to see.
Absolutely. A little blood on the hand of Carroll on his elbow. And he is being escorted to the sideline. We talked about how Dwayne Jones is a player, and right here he shows some of that with great emphasis. Terrific rebound, keeps the ball up like a big man should. Gets himself on the board, averages 8 boards and 7 rebounds a game.
Now the Hawks up by 8. Bell crossover dribble. Pulls up 17-footer strong. Off the hands of Jones. And Smith stepped out of bounds.
So impressed with Smith. He's done everything in this game. Defensively, he's blocking shots. Offensively, he's making threes. He's getting dunks. He's scoring close to the basket. He is an impressive young sophomore. LaSalle has a good future ahead of them with this kid and Neal. Billy Hahn at the controls.
4 sophomores and a freshman, but that can lead to situations like this. A 12-2 St. Joe's run, although the Hawks can do that to an experienced team as well.
You're right, they can do it to everybody.
Delonte West, his right eye appears to be.
Well, he got poked in the eye. Yeah. The defense trying to hawk the ball, if you will. Right here, coming over the screen.
Whoop. Yeah.
Gets him right there. David Bell trying to stay close to West.
With over 4.5 remaining here in the first half. Explorers have made it a competitive game. Here is West off a Jones screen. Now to Barley. He pulls up with a 3. He was hit on the shot. And Billy Hahn's not going to like that. You're not supposed to foul the jump shooter, but especially a guy that's not a threat or normally a threat.
Well, he is more of a defensive threat, but I'll tell you what, they've been so aggressive and so up on shooters in this game. Normally, you really complain about that, but I don't think Billy Hahn's worrying about it too much in this game. He knows that they have to get up and contest. And if they foul once in a while on a 3, it's not such a mortal sin. Great intensity by Billy.
Yeah, absolutely. Barley has hit nearly 39% of his threes, which is not too shabby. And Mark Bass was saying yesterday as well, he said this kid has done so much to work on his offensive game. And he's one of those guys that you can bring in as a defensive stopper and give him a specific assignment, much like he did to Nardi the other night in Villanova, who would hit 3 or 4 threes in a row. Farley comes in, pulls him off.
He did a great job also against Xavier. Their guard, Lionel Chalmers, had 16 in the first half, and I think he only had 3 in the second half. Farley came in as a stopper. A lot of teams use a guy off the bench to create offense. Martelli uses it to create defense.
Neal to Smith. That's the way to break the press. Good ball movement.
Well educated by the Explorers. When a team full court presses you and they gamble, you got to make them pay at the other end. And so far, LaSalle's been able to do that.
Nelson, pull up, is good. Boy, if there was any question about his ability to shoot, pull up off the dribble, hit the deep shot, he has calmed all of those critics with his performance so far this year. Jameer Nelson. Here is Cleves. Bounce pass underneath off of Smith. Her last touch by the Hawks, I believe.
Media.
3:44 remaining here in the half. It's been a tough first half for St. Joe's, but they've been led by the guys you expect to see leading them. Jameer Nelson and the Hawks with the lead.
Davis coming up on the Bank One halftime report. We'll see if Joe Gibbs is close to bringing back the over-the-hill game for the Redskins. Also an SEC showdown that's coming down to the final few minutes at Rupp Arena. We'll tell you about that. And a fantastic finish in the Big Ten between Purdue and Michigan, and a near-record day for Michigan State. We'll talk about it coming up at halftime, guys.
All right, Reese, and right here we're at the historic Palestra in Philadelphia, number 3 and undefeated St. Joseph's with the lead, but Delonte West has done it all.
Watch him knife through the defense on these moves. He is so much fun to watch. He moves well without the basketball. Nelson always finds him, and the guy shoots deep. 13 points, 6 for 8 in the first half. And of course, Jameer has 10, 23 of the 34 points between these two dynamic guards.
West and Nelson's 23 matches the total that LaSalle has put up there. Well, we promised you that we would talk about an upset that LaSalle pulled off against a highly ranked St. Joe's team back in 2001. We'll take you back and show you Julian Blanks getting in the low post here, giving LaSalle a 68-64 lead. And Marvin O'Connor hits the three-pointer to cut it to 2. Marvin O'Connor had 19 points in the last 58 seconds, or in a 58-second span, and LaSalle with the inbounds able to avoid the foul and went on to win that one 91-90. So yes, it can happen.
Absolutely, and of course that game was played at LaSalle. The inbounds play well executed right here by the Explorers.
St. Joseph's foul, number 13, Chestakaitis, his second personal foul.
Cleves gives that energy off the bench. The guy's a tough, hard-nosed little player from John F. Kennedy High School, Patterson, New Jersey.
Chestakaitis picked up the foul, his second.
Returns to the St. Joseph's lineup.
Cleves averages 6 points a game, but capable of scoring more. And he's strong physically. I think he's a decent matchup on Nelson.
Quadri coming back in the ball game, replacing Bell, so Billy Hahn going a little bit smaller here.
Exactly, 4 guards in the game, which is what St. Joseph's has in the game as well. Inside, Smith and Jones will be the only big guys on the floor.
9-point advantage for the number 3 and unbeaten St. Joseph's Hawks. Farley to the baseline. Here is Nelson. Out of West, 15 on the shot clock. Farley and Nelson get into a bit of trouble. Now Farley's lost his dribble. Oh, Billy Hahn saying that there was a traveling violation before the timeout.
Excellent defense right here. Man-to-man, don't help. Just play your man. No seams that way. And as a result, Farley is forced to take a timeout.
The athletic department would like to thank the following.
Well, we've got some All-Stars here, and we're talking All-Star Weekend for the NHL. The night from Minnesota begins with a game between the NHL's brightest young stars, the East versus the West, featuring the likes of a 19-year-old named Rick Nash from Columbus. The Dodge Super Skills competition will follow that. Hardest slap shot, accuracy shooting, 3-on-1 competition, also the fastest skater. Always a fun weekend. The All-Star game will take place Sunday at 3 Eastern on ABC. And here in Philadelphia, they're excited about their Flyers, and Jeremy Roenick and Keith Primo, a couple of Philadelphia Flyers that'll be taking part in the All-Star game on Sunday. West off the glass, and foul is going to go against Jones on the push.
St. Joseph's foul is number 21.
So LaSalle will go to the line.
His first personal foul. That's St. Joseph's 18.
Well, one of the things you think about with St. Joseph's and their advancing in the NCAA tournament is the fact that Jones cannot get in foul trouble. He does a good job for them.
Right.
They don't have a lot of big guys besides him. Bryant really is a power forward, can't play center. So as a result, him staying out of foul trouble is extremely important. And the reason he's been able to do that so well is that the guards pressure out so much, he is not stuck one-on-one that often in the paint with whoever he's playing against.
Well, we had our research department look at the top 25 teams to see how many of them have a negative rebounding number. Look at St. Joe's, almost a -3 on the boards. The other three teams, Texas Tech will play later this afternoon, following us against Kansas, Providence, and South Carolina. Minus by less than a rebound, but usually it's a formula, coach, as you know. You better out-rebound the opposition.
No doubt about that. And if you are not doing that, you have to be excessively good in some other area. And obviously St. Joseph's is. And there's one of the areas. Great ball movement.
Carroll for the three, no good. Handles the rebound. Sean Neal, number 20, who has the ball, has checked in now for Billy Hahn.
LaSalle was lucky on that possession, giving Carroll an open three. A formula for disaster.
Just an 8-point lead for the Hawks. In the corner, a three-pointer on the way is good. Jermaine Thomas, who hit under 30% from out there. He has been somewhat of a disappointment for the Explorers this year.
Just going through the sophomore blues. He had a great freshman season. I'm sure he'll be good as the season goes on. Averaged 11 last year, only 6 this year.
Had hit just 3 of 21 in his last 3 games from the floor coming in.
Boy, that's ugly. Ooh.
Well, that is an important field goal for him. Nelson trying to take advantage of Sean Neal. Out to Carroll for the three that is no good. Ball is tipped. West has it, lays it in.
Uncanny. He does that against bigger players, but right now, one of the things about him, 4 guards in for LaSalle. West is used to being around the basket. His opponents are not.
15 points and now 5 rebounds for Delonte West as Sean Neal will go to the line.
West averages nearly 6 rebounds a game. And when he gets the ball under the basket, it's out of his hands quickly. Very few people have an opportunity to block his shot when he's inside.
1-on-1 man. Sean Neal, number 2.
Neal will step to the line. He's had only 4 free throw attempts this season. And a foul there against Cleves.
Well, if you noticed, West was in the first position under the basket right there. Normally that's reserved for your bigger players. So he's the second biggest player in there right now for St. Joseph's.
14, Gary Neal returns.
Cleves picks up the foul. That is his third.
Replaces Cleves.
So Cleves will sit down, and Sean Neal is replaced immediately by David Bell. Minute 43 remaining here in the half. St. Joseph's trying to become the first team since the '97 Kansas squad to open up at 20-0. The Atlantic 10 record for a winning streak, of course, the great UMass team of '95-96 that started 26-0.
And made it to the Final Four that year. Delonte West at the free throw line, the best free throw shooter in the Atlantic 10 at nearly 90%.
West knocks them both down earlier this season. He had a stretch where he made 30 consecutive free throws.
Great rhythm, great rotation, great follow-through. All prerequisites for shooting free throws well.
Nice job by Bell helping out to break the press. Now he gets it out to Quadri. Minute and a half on the clock.
They can be annoying on defense, I'll tell you. Notice how they switch all ball screens like that?
Thomas, nice ball fake, but he was challenged by Carroll, who stepped up. Delonte West is 1 against 4. Wisely pulls it out. Nelson accelerates. Finds Farley on the baseline. Drives to the rim, lays it in.
What a fun way to play if you're a guard. Full freedom. Create with the dribble. Very hard to guard.
Farley now with 5. Here is Gary Neal. 4 times he has gone for better than 30 points, but he's been frustrated here this afternoon. And Nelson will take it all the way and lay it in. 8-0 run against Billy Hahn's club here. That's why he wants to slow things down just a bit. It has not been a bad first half for the Explorers, but this is how explosive St. Joseph's can be.
Well, they spread the floor out. 4 guards in the game at the same time. All can put the ball on the floor. If you help too much of Nelson, he will find someone. And he usually creates great things for his teammates. He's a great assist guy, and he's a great scorer. Watch him here. He can pull up and knock it in if you back up. He can do it off the dribble and pull up strong. And he can do it off the pass. That's why he's everybody's All-American.
And also was part of our silver anniversary Atlantic 10 conference team, along with Camby, Rowe, Macon, and David West. As you take a look at the breakdown, West and Nelson, 29 points on 11 of 17 shooting. The rest of the team, 13 points on 4 of 9 shooting.
And you know, that statistic right there that you're looking at is not uncommon.
No.
You know, it happens almost every game with these guys. And they're also able to mix in Carroll and Stakaitis and Barley and Jones and Bryant. All these guys happy to play with Nelson and West.
And Gary Neal, the big gunner for the Explorers, just 2 points on 1 of 3 shooting. And as good as Stephen Smith was in the early going, they need Gary Neal.
No doubt about that. Smith has been spectacular, but has cooled off a great deal. Largely due into the pressure.
Free ball on the way, and Jermaine Thomas has hit a couple from that same spot in the deep corner. And it's just a 10-point ball game. 6 points for Thomas, so he's got all his points on those 2 shots from the corner. Nelson hands it off. Carroll doesn't need much room. He's fouled, and it's good.
Second time it's happened today. Fouling the 3-point shooter. This time Carroll makes his. A likely 4-point play. Penetrate. Don't help. If you do, you pay the price. Clock winding down. Can't ask for anything better than that.
Bob, as a defender, you're never intending to foul there, but when you know how good these guys are, you're trying to close that gap, and sometimes your momentum just gets you right into the shooter.
Absolutely.
4-point play.
Move, bro, move.
Long ball to Smith. Against Barley, lays it up too strong. So a 4-point play by Pat Carroll and Billy Hahn's club that was looking at keeping it around 10. Looks at a 14-point deficit now as St. Joe's ends the half with a 12-3 run. Now it's time for the Bank One halftime report. Let's send it back to the studio. Reese Davis.
Perfect example of why that team is so dangerous. LaSalle has a 3. It's down to 10. They're feeling great. 4-point play. All of a sudden, it's a 14-point lead at the half. Glad to have you with us on the Bank One halftime report. Got a couple of terrific games coming right down to the wire. But first, let's check a few news and notes. And perhaps Joe Gibbs getting ready to get himself a veteran quarterback. Mark Brunell of the Jaguars, apparently close to being traded to the Redskins. Sources tell ESPN.com's Len Pasquarelli. Kobe Bryant is back with the Lakers in Orlando, but he will not play Sunday against the Magic. He has a cut on his finger. Doctors determined he needs to keep it resting for a little while longer. And the U.S. clinches a spot in the Davis Cup quarterfinals by defeating Austria. Still to come on the Bank One halftime report. We will turn our attention to the afternoon in hoops, and it was not a pleasant one for Syracuse. We'll also take you to a couple of terrific endings when we come back.
Welcome to the Bank One Halftime Report.
St. Joseph's trying to stay undefeated, doing a good job in the first half, up by 14 on LaSalle. Rivalry week doesn't get any better than the Big Five in the Palestri. Other games going on, not necessarily what you would consider a rivalry, West Virginia and UConn. However, the Mountaineers playing tough in the first half, down by one. Patrick Beeline, the coach's kid, John Beeline's son, draining the three. Mountaineers up by 2. I know that Beeline might be the coach's son, but Emeka Okafor is West Virginia's daddy. Putting UConn up by 1. But still, West Virginia hanging around, tied. Yor Fisher with the J. Mountaineers seesawing back on top. Ben Gordon, best performance in a mass since Jim Carey. 36-31. They've just started the second half. UConn a little bit of sleepwalking in the first half. Syracuse and Providence. The Orange coming off a blowout at the hands of UConn earlier this week. And Providence have lost 2 straight. Donnie McGrath stroking. Providence had a double-figure lead for much of the early part of the day. Sheku Kaba. And then Kaba. Are you feeling it, Sheku? Is that a yes? Providence up 55-36, and then McGrath again. Boeheim's team just getting clobbered in the Dunkin' Donuts Center. 74-61, the final there. 5 Friars in double figures. South Carolina and Kentucky. This game is coming right down to the very end. Gerald Fitch has that sprained finger suffered against Florida, not playing. This is Michael Boynton stroking home the 3 for South Carolina. 2-point lead for the Gamecocks. 5 minutes to go. Chuck Hayes from just inside the key. And now we're tied at 57 again. Ronaldo Falkman, the big fella inside, tipping it home for South Carolina. Now 1-point lead for Carolina. Kaylina Azubuike rattling it home, and the Cats are up by 2. Josh Goner, the junior college transfer. Dave Odom's team taking the lead in Rupp Arena. Now ticking down toward a minute to go. Along the baseline, Antoine Barber and 1. 4 seconds to go in this game. Kentucky has a 1-point lead. Oklahoma State and Iowa State. Eddie Sutton's team has been soaring under the radar. They've only lost 2 games all season, and Iowa State tough in aims, particularly when Jake Sullivan has his aim on. The Cyclones' all-time 3-point leader. Ivan McFarland found John Lucas inside. Did I mention Sullivan can hit the 3? Third 3 of the half, had 11 points. Boy, John Lucas, what a pickup he's been. The transfer from Baylor played terrific for Sutton's team. And Oklahoma State in a very tough place to win now. Inside 14 minutes, and they are up by a dozen. McFarland has a dozen so far. Missouri and Nebraska, the troubles continue for the Tigers as they are threatening now to fall below 500, both in conference and overall. Nebraska behind Barry Collier has a 10-point lead, under 17 to go. Just to let you know, Kentucky did finish off that game. They won it 65-64. We've got more coming on Rivalry Week, presented by Cisco Systems. Bob Knight, the Red Raiders, on the road at the Fog to take on Bill Self and the Jayhawks. You can see that at 4 Eastern. And at 6 o'clock Eastern time, UAB, leading Conference USA, going into Freedom Hall. See if the Blazers are for real against Patino's team. When we come back, get you up to date on the ACC.
This halftime report is presented by Bank One, where you get individual answers. Welcome back to the Bank One halftime report.
Wake Forest beat Carolina in the Dean Dome in triple overtime earlier this year. The rematch at Joel Coliseum, and the Wake Forest fans putting the moves on, and Melvin Scott was not distracted. He had 4 of his first 6 from behind the arc, and Carolina, coming off that heartbreaker against Duke on Thursday night, built a lead as big as 18. Jamal Levy trying to keep Wake Forest in it. Wake Forest did indeed get back in it. Cut to 5, Rashad McCants burying the 3. An excellent ball movement. Sean May stuffs it. But North Carolina, 3 of their 5 ACC losses, had blown double-figure leads, in danger of doing so again. Raymond Felton, the big triple, under a half minute to go. Carolina's up by 3 in that game. Michigan State and Ohio State. The Spartans rarely miss anything for Tom Izzo. Kelvin Torbert didn't miss a single thing in the first half. He was 5 for 5 at 13 points, the latest the Flintstones to play at Michigan State. In the second half, Spartans up by 13. Maurice Ager, the quick pull-up. The Spartans continue to shoot lights out. They were threatening a school record, missed their last few shots, shot over 73% of the game, and won it by 14. Purdue and Michigan at Chrysler Arena in Ann Arbor. This was a fantastic finish. Don't get too excited, fellas. You will later on. 2-point lead for the Wolverines. Down toward 2 minutes to go. Austin Parkinson ties it up at 57. Daniel Horton had an answer, and Amaker's team's up 3. This, the closing seconds. Brandon McKnight gives Purdue a 1-point lead. Now, somebody's got to at least stop Daniel Horton or make him turn. They do neither. But he misses a shot. Courtney Sims once, Courtney Sims twice, and Michigan. A little minor defensive breakdown in a chaotic situation for the Boilers. Michigan takes advantage, 64-63. They get the win. Here's the end of that game at Rupp Arena. South Carolina and Kentucky coming down to the closing moments. Cats with the tough defense, and South Carolina can't get the shot to go, and Kentucky hangs on to win it by a count of 65-64. South Carolina denied in its attempt to win its 20th, and Kentucky now with the undisputed lead in the SEC East can see the Cats against Alabama on Tuesday night on ESPN. Jameer Nelson, one of the leading candidates for National Player of the Year, has the Hawks up 14.
This halftime report is presented by Bank One, where you get individual answers. ESPN's exclusive presentation of NCAA basketball, brought to you by GMC. We are professional grade.
Back here at the historic Palestra in Philadelphia, an Atlantic 10 and Big 5 matchup. St. Joe's number 3 undefeated, leading by 14. Dave Schrader back along with Bob Wenzel. LaSalle had a 19-17 lead, doing a lot of things right, but St. Joe's, there's so many weapons, so many different ways they can come at you.
Are you trying to say they're too good?
Too good.
I think you're right. And the reason they're too good, and we're going to show you the Cisco game track. Delonte West and Jameer Nelson are just too hard to guard. They have 29 points already in the first half in a variety of ways. West drives to the basket. He catches and shoots threes. He gets rebounds and scores inside. He can pull up jumper like this with Jameer. Jameer is so good on defense. He runs the floor, gets layups that way. 29 points. But I'll tell you what, Smith has done a great job inside. He's got 14 points, 6'9" sophomore, 2 of these type dunks in the first half, but he was a little bit invisible at the end of the first half, and also at the end of the first half, only 4 turnovers in the last 12 minutes for St. Joe's. That's why they got ahead.
Take a look at our GMC first half stats, and there you see the numbers. Look at St. Joe's field goal percentage. That's just incredible. You know you're up against a good shooting team. Billy Hahn's club came out. They were showing some intensity at the defensive end, and yet St. Joe's spreads the floor. They get the good shots.
A lot of weapons, as you said. A lot of weapons.
Lob on the inside, and Bryant, number 34 for St. Joe's, is going to be called for the foul.
Well, interestingly enough, Bryant guarding Smith in the second half, trying to keep Jones from getting in foul trouble. Jones will guard St. John, who's a physical player, but less of an offensive threat.
Jameer Nelson staying right tight on Gary Neal, who had only 2 points in that first half. Number 14 for the LaSalle Explorers. There he is. And this is a guy we mentioned before. 4 times, gone for 30. Here's Bell on the inside and can't finish. Those are the opportunities you have to make, especially when you're the underdog.
If you want to upset the 3rd-ranked team in the country, you can't miss chippies like that. Also, when you do miss a chippy like that, you can't think about it. Get back to work. See, this is where St. Joseph's is very good, too. You know, they're not just a run-and-gun team that jacks threes anytime they want. They work the ball, get a good shot.
Nelson.
7 seconds left on that one, Dave. So they are equally adept at running the ball and scoring in the 90s, or when they're defended well, work it until the defense gives you something and then take it.
Third foul against Gary Neal, and Billy Hahn perhaps has a decision. Or maybe he doesn't. Maybe you leave Gary Neal in, because how are you going to mount a comeback with him on the bench?
Well, Cleaves and Quadri have played better than Neal in the first half, really. And Thomas, as you mentioned, made 2 threes from the left corner. So he may be coming out of his slump.
You know, the official DJ Cartensen was just explaining to Billy Hahn. He said if the defender had gone straight up, because Hahn's contention was Jameer Nelson forced that contact, because you're entitled to that verticality, the official saying your guy didn't go straight up. Well, the benefit went to the offensive player.
Absolutely, and the All-American, which usually happens.
Well, that's another part of it.
See how they switch here? Now Jameer Nelson is guarding Smith close to the basket, about an 8-inch height differential.
Here is Bell, pulls up, no good. It's tipped out. Neal has it. He will try the three. It's one of the few times he hasn't had somebody right in his face, but he still had to hurry the shot. Gary Neal has more fouls than he has points at this point of the game.
Screens are designed to get somebody open, but because St. Joseph switches all screens, guys do not get open. Of course, what happens, see, here's a switch right here. Nobody gets open, and of course, you may have some mismatches, but they have been able to compensate for that, and it doesn't hurt them.
Here is West. Bryant rolls to the basket, but West couldn't get it to him. Now Bryant pops out, return pass to West. Out of his reach. Back comes Dwayne Thomas now. Kicks it out to Neal. Into the paint. Rises up with a floater that is strong. Tipped out, taken by Nelson. Hawks 4-on-1. Nelson to Jones for the slam. Here is Smith back the other way. Oh! He was fouled on the play.
And Phil Martelli is not going to be happy about that. Someone's going to come in off the bench, I guarantee you. A 4-on-1 for St. Joseph's at one end. Somebody should get back a little quicker than this, because if it's 4-on-1 at this end, it's 4-on-1 at the other end. And this is a great organization in the break. But at the other end, LaSalle answered, and they're going to get 2 free throws.
Farrell and Barley getting set to come in.
Rashid Quadri, number 5, back into LaSalle lineup, replaces Gary Neal, 12.
You know, Steve Smith has been the guy they have looked for. First 2 or 3 possessions, they were going inside to Stephen Smith, and then he stepped out and hit a 3-ball.
Yeah, he's done everything on offense. And you talked about how he was going to be an EMT and then decided to come to college and play basketball. Billy Hahn is happy about that. Yeah. He's developed nicely. Only a sophomore, 6'9", versatile performer.
Well, he still might have to be an EMT and resuscitate the hopes here of the LaSalle Explorers as they are down by 16 with just under 18 minutes to go.
St. Joseph's not turning the basketball over. When you get a good shot every time, even when you miss it, you're in good shape.
Smith thought about the long pass, wisely decides to just bring it into the front court, hands it off now to the point guard.
He's got some handle too, looks like.
Yes, he does.
Notice this switch, big on small.
St. John open for the 15-footer, no good. Boy, Quadri rising up the ladder, and St. John going to the basket. And he will shoot free throws. Coming up next here at 4 Eastern on ESPN, number 18, Texas Tech, number 17, Kansas. A Big 12 battle. Kansas 6-1 of the Big 12, tied with Texas and Oklahoma State. Tech right behind it, 5-2. Then at 7 Eastern, number 4 Pittsburgh will take on Notre Dame. That'll be at 7 Eastern. Those 2 teams had a great matchup back on January the 12th. Pittsburgh pulling it out by 3 to remain undefeated at their Peterson Events Center home.
Undefeated for 2 years.
Yeah, that's something.
I'll tell you what, I'd love to see Pittsburgh against St. Joseph.
Oh,
because Pittsburgh has those guys on the perimeter. Jerron Brown, he can guard people. I'm telling you, they would do. Krauser would guard Jameer Nelson, and Julius Page would guard West. They can guard you without having to help. I would pay to see that one.
Well, we should create a new property called Wenzel Week and have you just come up with some matchups, and certainly a St. Joe's Pittsburgh matchup in the East would be terrific.
Yes. I like that concept.
Here is Here's Barley now. In the ball game, he replaced Carroll.
Notice how the passes were always to the outside, away from the defense. Sound fundamentals.
Barley had it knocked away, picked up though by Jameer Nelson. 10 on the shot clock. Pulls up for the three. That is good.
Oh, man. When you play defense that long and a guy makes a shot, that is deflating, believe me.
Before the game, Nelson played a little game of around the world by himself. Just went around the perimeter of that three-point line and hit about 9 or 10 in a row right in front of the St. Joe's student section.
They were loving it, counting them out.
Nelson and West now each with 17 points. Smith, did he travel? Yes, he changed the pivot foot. Smith is saying, no, I didn't.
Bryant, the unsung hero right here of this team, the guy who gets the least publicity, drawing the assignment on Steve Smith and doing a solid job in the second half, forcing him into a turnover there. Earlier, guarding him well, close to the basket.
Mike Cleaves is back in the ball game as David Bell sits down. Now West with the ball out top.
Division of labor. Jones set screens. Bryant set screens. The other guys shoot and handle the basketball.
Barley straight away for the three that was strong, and Cleaves chases it down, and West with some contact. Early here in the second half, we told you at the very top it'll be Delonte West and Jameer Nelson that will lead the way. They have not disappointed, and Nelson keeping it up here in the second half. It is Rivalry Week presented by Cisco Systems. Dave Strader, Bob Wenzel, the historic Palestra here in Philadelphia. And the two guys that we promised you would deliver, they have so far.
Absolutely. 1 point shy of LaSalle's total so far are these two players. And look at the assists, even. Each of them have 4 assists. So they're not the selfish type scorers that you sometimes see. Tyrone Barley in there to pound Thomas, keep LaSalle from getting the ball easily to Smith. That's the concept.
And Barley just so quick, shuffling side to side. Here is Cleaves.
Seems sometimes like there's 6 white jerseys out there, doesn't it, at the defensive end?
Long three by Smith. And a foul going to be called as Jameer Nelson was tossed aside by Cleaves. 4th foul against the junior from Patterson, New Jersey. One of the things that the St. Joe's coaching staff realizes is that teams will try to be physical with them, because the teams that have had at least kept games close, whether it was Cal earlier in the year, Villanova in their second half run last weekend, or last Monday night, playing physical against St. Joseph's.
Yeah. And Nelson made the shot against Cal to win it with 4 seconds to go. But I'll tell you what, Nelson is a very physical player, and so is West.
Well, a foul called. Jameer Nelson not happy with himself. Didn't feel he had to do that. Just his second, though. And just the 14th foul against the Hawks here in the second half at a sold-out Palestra.
I'd say St. Joseph's playing with some passion and enthusiasm at the defensive end. Watch him now. That's Nelson right here. Keeps his hand on the ball. He's guarding Gary Neal, who is not having one of his better outings.
Thomas down the lane. Underneath you. A wide open Mike St. John. He lays it in. 5 points now for Mike St. John.
We talk about the sophomores being the dominant class for this LaSalle team. St. John's starting as a freshman this season. Brings some physical play to their lineup.
Got into the starting lineup because of an injury to Flo Larkai earlier in the year. Here's Nelson, steps back for the three that is good.
And speaking of big guys, Billy Hahn, recruited this 7-footer from Africa Mumbai, and he's tore up his ACL before the season began, so didn't suit up. He'll be playing next season.
Nelson now with 20 points, right on his average. Top 25 in the country. Audrey from the corner, no good. Look at the box out there by Tyrone Barley, and that allowed West to get the rebound. Jameer Nelson, look at the ball fake. Into the lane, hands it off to West, kicks it out. Dekitis wide open for the three, that's no good. Up and in by Jones, and he's fouled.
This is basketball to appreciate. Great ball movement. Everybody touches the basketball. Find the guy who's open. And if you're a rebounder, rebound. Wayne Jones gets his on the boards.
Still not able to find the stroke at the free throw line.
That was beautiful basketball at the offensive end.
Thomas picked up by Dekitis. St. John delivered to Quadri.
They're coming off St. John, playing him loosely and helping, so they're 4.5 against 5.
Thomas with a three that was well short. Delonte West lost his balance, but hopped back up. Little Curly Neal. Dekitis with the layup. The number 3 team in the country imposing their will now on this game. And the crowd here at the Palestra, about 80% St. Joe's fans coming to their feet as Gary Neal finally gets a second bucket to go down. Jameer Nelson listening to the instructions from his head coach, Phil Martelli.
I think the instructions are keep doing what you're doing.
Barley hands off to Jones.
This gets to be fun when you're the team that's ahead. Look at this D. Wow.
Nelson just gets so low. Quadri, the three, off the iron, tip. Wayne Jones hands it off to Jameer Nelson. He's got West ahead of the field. Lays it up and then he's fouled.
Classic fast break. Rebound, outlet, keep your head up, fill the lane. Make the shot, go to the free throw line and make that one. Just like you diagram it.
Team 6.
Explorers have called for a timeout. LaSalle got up to a great start on this ball game. They led it at 19-17, about 8 minutes in, but then plays like this. No matter what the score is, St. Joe's is always going to give you everything they've got. They run the floor, they defend, and they are unselfish. The number 3 Hawks with a big-time lead.
Want to show you how North Carolina and Wake finished up 75-70 in the closing seconds. Melvin Scott, who had 20 points on the day. Carolina gets its first road win in the ACC. Wake's lost 6 out of 8.
All right, Reese, thanks very much. Rivalry Week continuing here. Presented by Cisco Systems, the Palestra in Philadelphia. Dave Strader along with Bob Wenzel, the historic Palestra. And Bob, as we take a look at the field goals in the second half, you talked about St. Joe's, how much recognition they get at the offensive end. They do a great job at the defensive end.
They make you turn it over, and they make you miss. And when they make you miss, they rebound well, even though they are not a big team. West, almost 6 rebounds per game as a 6'4" player. And here he is at the free throw line, the number 1 free throw shooter in the league at nearly 90%.
And he gets the shooter's roll to make it 67-39, 11:57 remaining here in the second half of the ball game. Phil Martelli's club has rarely trailed. I'll give you a pretty impressive number on St. Joe's when we come back. Well, it goes back to the early 1900s, this rivalry between LaSalle and St. Joe's. St. Joe's has won the last 4, well on their way to making it 5 straight. Dave Trader back along with Bob Wenzel. And that number I was talking about, St. Joseph's has played a little more than 3,800 minutes of basketball this season, Bob. They have trailed, including today, for about 67 minutes. That's it. They always have the lead. Isn't that more fun to play and coach?
Absolutely. Get ahead early.
5-second violation.
And I'll tell you what, they finish people off. Kentucky would probably have a similar thing to that in terms of first half.
Yeah.
But they tend to fade late in games. Here are the longest win streaks. A veritable all-star, Jack Ramsey. He had some long streaks when he was coaching here.
Absolutely. Late 50s, early 60s, and Phil Martelli's club has shattered that streak and looking to make it 20. Speaking of 20, in the last 20 minutes, St. Joe's has turned the ball over just 1 time.
They are dominant. Along with all of that perimeter shooting we're talking about, they all handle the ball well.
Nelson with a jump stop, lays it up too strong, tipped up and in. Right over 40, Dave Mallon.
Mallon didn't play in the first 7 games, injured this year, has come back. He also not afraid to let it fly from 3-point range. But this is where they're getting it done this half, at the defensive end. I guard my man, you guard your man, and never shall they get an easy shot.
Neal inside, and that hits the front rim, but he was fouled on the play.
St. Joseph's foul number 13.
A pass to the post to an open player is a rarity
Team 6.
with St. Joe's opponents this year. And the reason for it, they pressure the ball so much that the passer can't even see to the paint to get the ball delivered.
Only twice this year has Gary Neal failed to hit double figures. It happened early in the season against Hampton, and then he had a really tough game at Xavier, hitting just 1 out of 14 from the floor. He's hit just 2 of 6 from the floor this afternoon, has a total of 6 points now with the free throws.
How about Xavier being at the bottom of the western part of this league and then beats Cincinnati, a highly ranked Cincinnati team. Rivalries.
Yeah, absolutely. Here is Carroll, some contact, no call, pulls back. Way too strong on the 3 opportunity. Now Neal pushing it up the floor, lost control. Nelson has it, puts it through the legs. Now finds Lee to the basket, lays it up. No good, but he's fouled by St. John.
The Salle foul number 42 by St. John. His 3rd personal foul.
Solid defense right here. Cut it off. Handle. Pass. Can you say he does it all?
2 shots.
Indeed. And Lee, a infrequently used player, it's his chance to get some playing time in this one.
Lee knocks down the first of the 2 free throws. And Delonte West has gone to the bench, and now Jameer Nelson. Phil Martelli with a chance to rest a couple of his star players. Their next test may be the toughest they have left before the Atlantic 10 tournament. They will host Dayton, who is unbeaten in the conference.
18-3. Brian Gregory, the former Michigan State assistant, now the head coach, takes over a team that has 4 starters back from their NCAA team last year. And Ramad Marshall, if we didn't talk so much about West and Jameer Nelson, he's 42-9 as a starter at Dayton as their point guard.
Don't forget the A-10 tournament is at Dayton this year, so even if St. Joe's gets by Dayton at home, you're talking about Jameer Nelson and being a great guard, Delonte West, and one of the assistant coaches for the St. Joe's Hawks. A pretty good guard in his own right when he played for the Hawks. Mark Bass is in his 5th year as an assistant coach. On the second free throw, knocks that one down as well. There's Mark Bass.
Nice tie.
Yes. I had a chance to talk with him yesterday, and I asked him a question I'm sure they get a lot. When did you realize just how special this team was? And I'm sure you didn't go in thinking we're going to go unbeaten. And he said, really, the game at Cal, it wasn't a home game for Cal, but it was out in Oakland, neutral floor. They played us real physical. Delonte West didn't have a great ball game. And he said the game against Boston College, as St. John lost the ball there, and that leads to this break now for the Hawks, because Boston College has a pretty good big man in Craig Smith, and they did a job on him, Bob. So they feel that those two games answered some questions that some outsiders have about them. And Mark Bass now says, you know what, we really believe we're taking it one game at a time, to use the cliche. He said, we're not talking about running the table with the players, but he said it's in the back of your mind.
Well, there's no doubt about that. And he was a great, great player. And you're right, Craig Smith is a monster. He's first team all Big East. You think of him and Ryan Gomes as the best power forwards in that league. And of course, when they played Cal, Leon Poe, one of the best freshmen in the country, playing there this year. And Jameer made a shot. They won that game 53-52. Made a fadeaway shot in the lane with about 3 seconds to go.
Well, the other thing that not only Mark Bass, but Phil Martelli, the head coach, they put an image in their team's head. Guys, if we lose, it's going to be a lot of celebrating. The other team's going to be on the floor hugging each other, and we're going to have to stand there and wait to shake hands. That's not something we want to experience.
See, that's great coaching. Visualization like that. Yeah. I love that. That's a very, very interesting thing. You don't want to be out there when somebody beats you and they see it on TV. Solid. Love it. I'm wondering whether these guys are going to be back in this game with 9 minutes left to play in the game. Whether West and Jameer will return. They've got big numbers already. 22 and 20.
Another chance to see what some of your other players can do with some significant time on the clock. And why risk the injury?
Well, absolutely. And you got guys who play a lot that are still out there. Pat Carroll and Skikitis are out there, and Barley. Lee and Mallon don't play as much. So far, they're keeping the defensive intensity right where it should be.
There is Lee, all the way. Fadipe able to come back and block it. I think everybody stopped thinking there was going to be a foul called.
Great hustle play by Fadipe.
Yes.
Lewis runs the floor. That ball almost in the basket. Slaps it away. Great hustle.
Team's 940. Dave Allen at the line.
Bob, I'm going to ask you what a lot of people around the country are wondering. Okay, St. Joe's looks like they're on their way to 20-0. They had the early win against Gonzaga. They had the win against Cal, but the rest of their schedule, with the A-10 not being that strong. Duke, Stanford, Pitt, UConn, Louisville, all teams that most people put as potential Final Four teams. Is St. Joe's a potential Final Four team?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, I think they'll get a #1 seed, and if not, they're going to be a #2 seed. So they're definitely a Final Four caliber team. Now, how many of those teams are there out there? Maybe there's 8 or 9. The ones you mentioned, certainly.
A scramble for the loose ball, and Fadipe came up with it. Here is Quadri now.
I think sometimes people get a little jealous about undefeated teams and all the talk about undefeated teams. Jim Calhoun made the remark that if St. Joseph's played in the Big East, they wouldn't be undefeated, and he might be right about that. But it doesn't take away from the fact that they still could be a Final Four team.
Right. Here is Carroll to Barley. And the student section being given a reason to cheer here as Archer Sirov, a 7-footer from Helsinki, Finland, is off the bench and getting ready to check in, and Mallon fires up an air ball. Here comes Sirov. 7:27 remaining in this one. More from the undefeated #3 team in the country, St. Joseph's Hawks, when we come back.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of Rivalry Week is presented by Cisco Systems. This is the power of the network. Now,
the Hawks is still flapping. Those wings don't get tired when things are going their way as they have all season, largely because of the play of the backcourt, Bob.
No doubt about that. Maybe these guys are through for the night. They weave their way. They shoot from the outside. They crash the boards. Almost 6 rebounds for a 6'4" guy. That is unheard of. And, of course, a lot of people's player of the year does it at the defensive end. He's got 64 steals coming into this game. And, of course, he's spectacular at the offense. Gives a little shake in the pull-up three. Great numbers for both of these stars today. They have carried their team 20 and 22 points. Look at 7 rebounds for Delonte, and both of them dishing off in an unselfish manner. What a backcourt.
Jameer Nelson, second all-time scorer career-wise in St. Joe's history. First in assists, fourth in steals. And Thomas with a three-point back shot. That's the second one we've seen from the Explorers.
That's right. I think Quadri or Cleves had one earlier.
Here's Surov, the student section. They want him to shoot the ball.
Hey, he has some skill. I watched him in a practice session. And he doesn't get a lot of time this year, but I think he will in the future. He's got pretty good hands.
Deepening trying to stay in front of him. Now Stakaitis looks, and the ball was kicked. And that's going to be a fresh shot clock.
Looks like he might be done for the evening. Stakaitis inbounding the basketball. Sophomore from Nice High School, Ponte Vedra, Florida. Where my sons go to school, actually. Oh.
Surov inside, off the glass and in, but he traveled.
What disappointment from that half of the arena.
Yes.
Love it, love it. He may have his own fan club.
Just a freshman, 7 foot, 285 pounds. Not a bad weapon to have come off the bench. If you get into a tournament game, if Jones gets into foul trouble, this is the kind of situation where you want Surov to get some minutes and see what it's all about.
No doubt.
Now Malin, Stakaitis on the baseline. Bounce pass inside, Surov had it knocked away. Smith. Picked up by Barley. Didn't back that one, did he? Jermaine Thomas.
Well, if something good comes from this game for Billy Hahn, it may be the reemergence of Thomas. He's made threes in this game, unlike any other game this season. He is one of the super sophomores on this team that needs to produce. He, Neal, and Smith.
Thomas with 4 3-pointers that he's knocked down. Here is Lee. Hands it off for Surov, but Lee was fouled on the way to the basket.
Do you sense a concerted effort on the part of the Hawks to get the ball to Surov? 3 plays in a row, they've attempted to pass him the basketball.
Salle is over the limit. Wayne Lee, number 5 at the line, has 2 shots for St. Joseph's.
So Lee will go to the line to shoot 2. You know, talking about history with these 2 schools, LaSalle, as you take a look at the free throw numbers, celebrating the 50th anniversary of their national championship team, 1954, Bob. A lot of people forget.
Oh, I'll tell you what, they don't forget Lionel Simmons, 3rd leading scorer in the history of college basketball. Who was first, you know?
That one I do know.
Pistol Pete, right?
Pistol Pete.
44 a game. They didn't have a 3-point shot then. But Simmons, over 3,000 points in his career here. What a great player he was.
Neal to the basket, lays it up too strong. Malin was there to defend. Felipe Surov may have gotten a piece of that. Here's Felipe again. Trying to throw the elbows, and he travels. More college basketball coming your way here on ESPN as part of Rivalry Week, presented by Cisco Systems. Moves along, number 18, Texas Tech, taking on number 17, Kansas. Ron Franklin and John Sunbolt standing by to give you that one. It'll tip at 4:08, and at 7 o'clock Eastern. Later on, we'll have number 4, Pittsburgh, taking on Notre Dame.
A lot of stars in those games right there. Andre Emmett of Texas Tech. Many people feel he's among the top 5 players in the country.
Surov's got an entire recruiting section ready to explode.
You know what this sounds like a golf tournament when a guy misses a putt.
Yeah, it's second one, no good as well. Now Neal, who's been frustrated all afternoon, into the paint, and it's stripped away by Barley, who says, no, that's on the playground. That never would have been called.
Barley really a solid defender.
And he's one of those guys that just loves his role.
Oh, yeah.
He loves the challenge.
He comes in, guards the best guy on the other team, no matter how big he is, unless he's a center.
Neal misses the free throw. It's been that kind of an afternoon. He is second only to Delonte West in the Atlantic 10 in free throw shooting coming in. Knocks the second one down. 7 points for Gary Neal, who came in averaging just over 20 a ball game.
Now this is the part of the game when you have substitutes in, which worries coaches the most, when the other team presses you, because leads can die quickly. But as I mentioned before, Barley, Stakaitis, Mallon, they've all played a lot. And Lee's got his minutes this year too. They're looking smooth on offense.
Here is Barley, pulls up for the three. That rattles in and out. Looked pretty good on the way from our vantage point. Now Thomas to Smith. Smith off the glass, and it falls.
You think about Salle and how much noise they can make in the Atlantic 10 in the future, and you got to feel positive. Smith really is going to be one of the best post players in this league.
20 points for Smith now. Stakaitis rattles in and out, tipped in by Mallon.
Right place at the right time.
Sophomore from East Aurora, New York. Thomas off the screen. Finds Neal. He'll try the long three that rattles in and out. And Lee, the substitute guard, got up there and battled the much bigger Stephen Smith.
You know, the interesting thing about guards rebounding, and Lee is the smallest player on the floor right now. A lot of times the point guard for the offensive team does not go to the boards. So as a point guard rebounder, and Jason Kidd is the guy who sort of invented this. You know, you go to the boards, you're going to get a lot of clean shots and rebounds. I think point guards should get a lot of rebounds.
And now Arvydas Lichis, number 41 from Lithuania, checking into the ball game for Bill Martelli.
Number 1 Mike Clears, number 42 Mike St. John, back in for the Salle, replacing Gary Neal and Louis Felipe.
And Lee knocks down the free throw.
Media, timeout.
3.5 remaining in this one. St. Joseph's is going to be the first team in the nation to go to 20-0 this season. Of course, the only other team with that opportunity, Stanford, plays later today. A lot to cheer about for the St. Joe's fans at the Palestra.
In the Big Ten, a bit of a surprise brewing. Wisconsin number 11 on the road without their point guard, Vu Wade. This is Jatim Young going for Northwestern. Badgers been perfectly awful for most of the day. Northwestern's up by 15. Coming up 8 minutes after the hour will be the tip for Andre Emmett and Texas Tech on the road to take on Kansas.
All right, Reese, thanks very much. As we wind down here at the Palestra in Philadelphia, St. Joseph's on their way to a 20-0 start. Just over 3 minutes left here. Dave Strader along with Bob Wenzel. On a Saturday afternoon in Philadelphia. Suroff underneath, puts it up a bit too strong. Tip no good. Stakaitis was there for the putback. And he is fouled. Well, the talk around college basketball now is, can St. Joseph's run the table, or can Stanford run the table? Here's what St. Joseph's has, Bob, in front of them. Dayton, a big game at home. at Alumni Memorial Fieldhouse, and then you see the rest of the schedule. Note the game at Rhode Island. Dayton and Rhode Island, the only two teams left with winning records.
Yeah, and I thought the Rhode Island game at Rhode Island would be the toughest one, but I think Dayton is going to be the toughest one. Even though it's a home game, Dayton is 18-3, and they've got guards that can play defense on Nelson and West.
Something else we should point out is this St. Joseph's team is about to go to 20-0. They have only played 5 games at Alumni Memorial Fieldhouse. Only 5 games in their own gym. A reminder, the number 18 Texas Tech and number 17 Kansas, they're coming up next year on ESPN. We'll be taking most of our viewers to Allen Fieldhouse in just a few moments for the opening tip, and we'll update you on anything you missed here in Philadelphia. For those of you in Philadelphia, we will get you to Kansas immediately following the conclusion of our game here at the Palestra.
And of course, Kansas losing to an Atlantic 10 team last week. Richmond goes to
What
Kansas
a shock that was.
and wins at Kansas. What a spectacular victory for Richmond and Jerry Wainwright and his group. Wow.
Richmond, a team that LaSalle defeated earlier this year.
They put it together with solid defense.
Contact inside, and number 41, Arvidas Ligis, will be called for the foul.
In that game, Tony Dobbins blocked Aaron Miles' shot and then made his own shot at the other end, so he was the hero for the Spiders that day.
Speaking of Aaron Miles, that'll be an interesting matchup at the guard spot. Jarius Jackson, he goes by Jay Jackson, has had an outstanding year as a freshman starting at guard for Bob Knight. Got off to a tremendous start early. I think he went like 4 games with 1 turnover. And has come back to earth a little bit, but this is the kind of game that'll make a young guard grow up in a hurry.
Amen. And it's interesting to watch Kansas because they don't do what Kansas has done over the years. Bill Self, the new coach. Roy Williams, of course, had been the great coach for many, many years, and he had a system. This is a different system, so when you watch them, you're watching a different kind of team.
Jezelowski, number 2, and Hartshorn, number 43. Seldom get any PT, but they're going to get some here at the Palestra with St. Joseph's up 82-58.
Think about it. Some of these guys have to guard Nelson and West in practice every day. What a thankless job that is.
But it makes for some great storytelling some point later on down the line.
That's right.
Stephen Smith.
Smith leaving with 24 points, leading the way for the LaSalle Explorers, doing a lot of his damage early in the ball game. Hartshorn. Salle knocks it down, and there's the reaction from the student section. We've been waiting for it. The bench likes it as well. And a foul on the way to the hoop. Well, the last time that we had 2 undefeated teams, Bob, this late in the season, you have to go back to the 83-84 season. DePaul actually lost on this day, February 7th. Finished the season 27-3. North Carolina was 21-0. Lost a little bit later in the month. But how about DePaul losing on this day to
St. Joe.
Very good.
How about that?
Well,
wow, now that is some irony, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Audrey rattles home the free throw. And the substitutes getting a chance to full court press, and for St. Joe's to see if they can handle it. Here's Ligis into the front court. Double team. Very calmly finds a teammate, though. Well, for St. Joseph's, with a win here this afternoon, their 3rd 20-win season in the last 4 years. It'll be the 18th 20-win season in the 95-year history of basketball at St. Joseph's. And the 4th time they've done it now in the 9 years under Phil Martelli as Suroff was fouled.
Also, you think about the great coaches that have been at St. Joseph's and have gone on to the NBA. Guys like Jack Ramsey and Jimmy Lynam, Matt Gukas, Paul Westhead, who went to St. Joseph's, coached at LaSalle, and then, of course, coached the Los Angeles Lakers for a while. And Jimmy O'Brien, late of the Boston Celtics. All alums at Hawk Hill.
Number 20, Sean Neal, returns from LaSalle lineup, replacing Jermaine Thomas. Number 31.
Don't forget Texas Tech, Kansas tipping off in about 4 minutes. You will not miss any of the action. And Suraf has that free throw rim out. Latest update, we got Stanford ahead of Arizona by 9 at the half of their ball game.
You ever been to Naples Pavilion?
I have done a game there a couple of years ago with Jay Billis.
That was an old gymnasium.
Well, the floor shakes. I mean, it's got so much spring to it.
Not too many sky boxes or anything like that there. But Mike Montgomery doing a fabulous job. A team that is very hard-nosed. Suraf, standing ovation. Gotta love it.
You know it's a blowout when your first round of subs get to come out and get an ovation so that the next round of guys can come in.
Great stuff. Great stuff. College basketball, huh?
Here is Simmons, number 23, who has checked in for the Explorers, who will fall to 8-13, and this will just go into the bank of learning experiences that Billy Hahn's club they just have to go through. Underneath St. John. That was deflected and was contested by Lidges on the second opportunity, and St. John was fouled. He'll go to the line. Gary Neal can only sit and wonder how he will bounce back.
Well, he didn't have his best game, but he was playing against probably the best defensive guards he's going to see in his career. Only a sophomore, West and Nelson can lock people down. You know, you think about these substitutes that are in the game right now for St. Joseph's, and you know, they're the guys who not only have to play against West and Nelson every day, but they're doing all the same drills, working just as hard.
Right.
And this is a wonderful opportunity for them.
Andrew Kofor, number 31, in the ball game as well. So Phil Martelli has used the entire bench. There was going to be a 30-second timeout called, and I think Phil Martelli said, let's just play. And the LaSalle bench said, thank you.
Yes, amen. Amen. They're inbounding the ball to the wrong place the last several times, right to where you can be trapped and use the sideline.
Hartshorn underneath. Lays it in.
Nice pass.
Final half minute. St. Joseph's is going to go to 20-0 as Sullivan was fouled after the steal. As soon as we wrap this one up here at the Palestra, we're going to send you right to Allen Fieldhouse. Talk about going from one historic venue to another, huh?
Absolutely. One venerable place to another one. Allen Fieldhouse slightly larger than the Palestra.
Sullivan gets himself on the score sheet.
You know, we mentioned all of those famous coaches and proud people of St. Joseph's. How about Bill Raftery and Tim Legler?
Yes.
LaSalle graduates, along with Joe Bryant, the father of Kobe, also was an outstanding player here. Led them in rebounding and scoring in 1975. So good history with both of these institutions.
There will be better days for Billy Hahn and his crew as this team matures, but this is the time now for this very, very special St. Joseph's team under Phil Martelli as they go to 20-0 on the season. Once again, the final score, St. Joseph's wins at 89-63. Texas Tech and Kansas coming your way. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Now to Allen Fieldhouse, Ron Franklin, and John Sunkel. Guys?